Breaking the Cycle. My name is Dr. Alan Hyde, and today we're joined by a special guest, the owner and founder of a local nonprofit in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Ashlyn. We're going to get into all of the background, all of the history on her personal ties to this organization, the dreams that they have moving forward in the future, why it's named Ashlyn, and many more things. Before we get into our information and our guest background today, Breaking the Cycle is more than just a podcast. You see here on Thursdays, we're also a therapy practice in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. If anything you hear today or on other episodes relates to you in any kind of way, you can find our website and the link to reach out for individual therapy and get the help that you need. But without further ado, Brooke Morris.
Hello, hello.
Thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So tell us about Ashlyn. You were kind of giving me a rundown
Yeah.
before, not just like where the meaning of the name comes from,
hmm
but also that we're going to get into some pretty, not necessarily heavy for us, but maybe heavy for
Yeah,
the
yeah,
viewers, information
yeah,
on what you guys are doing.
yeah. So, one of, my name is Brooke, and one of my favorite titles is mom, and I am the mom of a survivor, and that's kind of how Ashlyn started. She was a survivor of interstate sex trafficking when she was 15. So, yeah, her name was Natalie. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Let's describe for the listeners what interstate versus
hmm
kind of like international.
hmm
Let's just break down some of the differences for somebody who may not know anything about it.
Yeah, so I think in the news and in the movies, and especially the movie a couple of years ago, Sound of Freedom, it's made to be this global thing. Human sex trafficking. It only happens overseas. It only happens in third world countries or whatever you might think. But truly, it's happening in every community to some degree or another. My husband and I, were totally blind to it until it happened to us. So she was taken here in Dallas Fort Worth in Dallas and moved up to Oklahoma and sold for sex online. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I imagine there's some kind of like black market situation, or is it just
Yeah, I mean, both. Yes, and I think there is a black market, and I do think there are some really, really, really dark sides to human trafficking that we may not even be aware of yet. I know in my daughter's instance, it was people being selfish and just trying to sell her, to make money, to be a commodity. At one point in our story, I was informed, it was just at one point, they were telling me, I had thought, okay, now they're going to hurt her. And they had said, no, they're not going to hurt her. And I said, well, this is hurting her. And they said, no, she's too valuable. Because she was pretty, because she was white, and because she had braces, and because the braces made her seem younger than she was. And I will never forget that. I mean, that was really, really heavy as a mom and as a woman,
yeah?
like to hear that. Yeah.
It's brutal the level of sickness around
Oh,
these
yeah.
issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there have been attempts, right, obviously, in our country to get in, create legislation to
hmm
stop these things, but it's going to exist always. And having the conversations, building awareness in our communities is the forefront of the fight, at least in some of the assessment I can see.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And prostitution is the oldest job. It's the oldest career, so to speak. And so, there is a difference between, prostitution and being, like trafficked. And the two are married, the two go hand in hand, but people are not asking the right questions. For instance, when someone is arrested for prostitution and they go to jail, it's, it's attorneys and district attorneys not asking, law enforcement not asking, are you here against your will? Like, is somebody making you do this? What kind of collateral is being held over your head? You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's why the awareness and the education piece is so, so, so important, because we're finding, I mean, almost daily, people, law enforcement, legislators, everything that truly either have a big misconception about what it is or they don't know altogether. And sadly, I mean, I can admit my husband and I really fell into we didn't really know what it was.
Right.
So, yeah.
One of my buddies, he on the weekends he volunteers but he goes around and they peruse the community
Yeah.
checking for cars with tinted windows.
Oh.
They go in and pass out flyers of pictures of
Mm-hmm.
teenagers and kids who've gone missing.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really, I mean, they find people pretty much every week.
Yeah.
All different.
That's incredible. We worked with a private investigator that kind of did the same thing, and it's really incredible because he's being part of searching for people that I can tell you are not being actively searched for, and they're mainly teens, but they're being labeled as runaways, and so it's kind of the narrative of, well, they ran away, they'll come back. Well, they're not a puppy, they're not just gonna come back all the time. Sometimes they do, we want them to, but it's much, much bigger than that. My daughter had a history of running away when this happened to her. And truth be told, she left on her own. She was at a basketball game with my husband at the AAC, and she left on her own. It was not the kicking and screaming, stranger danger. It wasn't any of that. It was, hey, I think you're kind of cute. Do you want to go smoke some weed? Do you want to go eat? Do you want to hang out until the game's over? And being 15, she was like, yes, I do. I can't say that, I wouldn't have done the same thing when I was 15. But yeah, I always say things are in your control until they're just not anymore. And what ultimately I think was just going to be just like a fun night out with a guy that she thought was kind of cute that she met at a game, ended up being 11 days of just pure hell. So, yeah.
Let's pause for a second. What's going on here? Is the mic not working? Oh, bear with us. We'll be right back in just a moment. We're going to get the mic squared away here. I'm sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
What was going on